Welcome to the Transum Podcast, a monthly roundup of the new features on the transum.org website, providing mathematical puzzles, games, learning activities, and the ever-popular mathematics lesson starter of the day. Here's your host, John Tranter.
Hello! Happy New Year! Welcome to podcast number 50. Wow, for January 2019. So here we go. Just as every other podcast has begun, we're going to start with a puzzle for the new year. Now, I have just returned from a very long driving holiday. I spent the holidays in the north of Thailand, up in the hills, driving from one place to another. And every night when I stayed in a hotel, they all seem to have exactly the same model of room safe. And these room safes required a 4-digit code for you to lock and unlock them. So I decided to choose a number such that the first digit was the number of noughts in the whole code. The second number was the number of ones in the whole code. And the third number was the number of twos in the whole code, and the fourth number was the number of threes. Now, when I realised this was going to be my plan, it turned out that there were more than one 4-digit code that satisfied this requirement. So I chose the largest one. The puzzle is, what was my code? My 4-digit code for opening the safe. The answer will be, as usual, at the end of this podcast, after I have told you about the new additions to the Transum website that snuck up there sometime in December. So, here we go. The first thing that I realised early in December was that the site didn't have a really basic activity requiring pupils to plot given coordinates without any other distractions, without any other puzzle or game element, just a basic coordinates plotting program. So that gap has now been filled with Coordinate Plotter. It's a drag and drop, randomly generated and self-checking learning experience. So I'm sure you may have some pupils for whom that would be very useful. Now, those other pupils who have long passed the coordinate plotting phase, there's now a new addition to the graphs collection. Parallel graphs is a quick activity requiring pupils to arrange equations of straight line graphs into, let's say, y equals mx plus c, so they can quickly see the gradient of the line, and then to drag the given equations, into groups of families of parallel lines. That's quite a quick activity to complete and provides a little bit of practice or revision, if that is needed, for the gradient of straight line graphs. Another new activity that I'm actually quite excited about at the moment, because that's literally went up as I was on this driving holiday. It's called Latin square puzzles. Now, this is similar to the puzzles that you see in newspapers and puzzle books, where you have to arrange the digits amongst the operations to produce the given totals in a grid, and the grid is a Latin square. That means that each digit appears once and only once in every horizontal and vertical line. Well, the trouble with the ones in the newspapers and the books is that they generally operate left to right as far as the calculations are concerned, which goes against the order of operations that we would like pupils to practice. You know, the BIDMAS or the PEMDAS system. So, I have come up with a series of 9 puzzles where the operations are in an order where, if you do them from left to right, you're also obeying BIDMAS. And the difficulty increases because less of the numbers are given to you as clues as you get towards puzzle number 9. So it's a great way to practice lots of number bonds, multiplication facts and so on. So you may find that useful for your pupils or even yourself.
You are listening to the Transum podcast. You can find Transum Mathematics at www.transum.org.
Common trig ratios is something that's been on the site for some time, but it's been extended now to include a level on finding the lengths of indicated sides on right-angled triangles by solving trigonometric equations but giving exact solutions. So these are looking at the special angles, but it extends that activity. The activity called overdraft charges is based on an email I received from Lloyds Bank explaining their new system for calculating the fees charged for being in the red in 2019. I thought this information should be available to pupils who are just starting to learn how to manage their personal finances. So as part of your ongoing financial education program, or Skills for Life, whatever you call it, this is an activity that uses a real system for working out overdraft charges. My driving tour of northern Thailand took me to the village called Pai, and I arrived excitedly, expecting to experience many mathematical attractions, but sadly there were none. That disappointment, though, did not stop me writing in terms of pi. This is an exercise in which the answers should be given exactly and contain the symbol for pi. So that's something that was lacking on the site previously, and now it is there. The old activity called stamp sticking has been split into levels so that it is easier to earn a trophy. If you have pupils in need of some more unusual times tables practice, then this might fit the bill. The postage amounts written on the envelopes are randomly generated, so a level can be attempted many different times without repetition, if that's the practice that your pupils require. I would think that right now you're starting to think about the new term, or even the new school year if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. So don't forget that there is a back-to-school collection of activities available to you on the Transum website. Relevant for this time of year, I'd like to mention that the dodecahedral calendar for 2019 is waiting for subscribers to print out and to construct, producing a useful item of desk furniture for the coming year. The links to this and all the other things that I'm talking about in this podcast can be found at transum.org/newsletter. I can't really mention my adventure in northern Thailand without letting you know about my most exciting moment. I just got out of bed one morning when, to my surprise, I opened the curtains in my chalet, and what was outside but an elephant. It provided entertainment by blowing dust into the air while eating its breakfast by the side of the river, and it reminded me of the old joke. I got up early one morning and saw an elephant in my pyjamas. What the elephant was doing in my pyjamas, I'll never know. Anyway, it was a true story about the elephant. The joke, I just couldn't resist. Anyway, the answer to the puzzle about the hotel room safe code digits. I found that 1210 and 2020 both satisfy the criteria. So the largest one is 2020, and that was the code I used for the safe in my hotel room. That's all for now. All the best for the new year. Bye.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the Transum podcast. You can find the website at www.transum.org, where you're welcome to use all of the activities absolutely free, or jump in with both feet and become a Transum subscriber.